Imagine standing face to face with someone who triggers something deep inside you. Frustration, fear, even rage. Your heart pounds, your breath quickens, and suddenly the air feels charged with tension. In that moment, your mind races. What? Do you say? How do you react? But what if, just what if you could remain calm, unshaken, unflappable, no matter who you're dealing with, no matter how hostile, manipulative, or provocative they become? This isn't just wishful thinking or New Age fluff. There are people, ancient philosophers, skilled leaders, quiet warriors of the mind, who have mastered this secret. They hold a power so subtle, so profound, that it can disarm conflict before it even begins. This secret is calmness, but calmness is no mere absence of emotion. It's a hidden battlefield, a psychological thriller unfolding inside your mind every time you encounter someone who pushes your buttons. Why do some people seem to glide through these moments like a still lake, reflecting chaos without a ripple, while others are swallowed whole by the storm? What if calmness is the ultimate weapon, one that resists manipulation, fear, and control? And here's the twist. In a world engineered to provoke outrage, division, and emotional chaos, staying calm might just be the most radical act of rebellion. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll unravel this enigma. We'll dive into ancient wisdom, explore the psychology behind emotional control, and expose how modern power structures deliberately wage war on your inner peace. Because to stay calm is to reclaim your power. The question is, are you ready to learn the secret? Let's begin. Throughout history, calmness has never been a mere accident or passive state. It was a conscious choice, a cultivated strength wielded by some of the most powerful minds and leaders who shaped civilization. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, for example. He ruled an empire on the brink of collapse, surrounded by political betrayals, endless wars, and plague. Yet, in the midst of chaos, he remained composed, steady, unshaken. His personal writings, now known as meditations, reveal a mind disciplined to see beyond turmoil, to find order within chaos, and to treat every challenge as an opportunity for virtue rather than despair. Marcus didn't just preach calmness. He lived it as a weapon against fear and manipulation. His Stoic philosophy taught that while we cannot control external events, we have absolute mastery over our reactions. This separation of what is within our power from what is not became a shield against emotional upheaval and the chaos imposed by others. But this idea is not unique to the West. Half a world away, ancient Eastern traditions like Taoism and Zen Buddhism developed their own paths to calm. Taoism, with its principle of Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, encourages yielding to the flow of life, embracing stillness rather than fighting against it. It is in this surrender that one discovers true strength. Zen Buddhism took this further, advocating for complete detachment from distractions and desires, cultivating a state of presence where the mind is clear and unperturbed by external disturbance. This inner stillness was not passive resignation, but an active engagement with reality, seeing things as they are without the distortions of fear or anger. Across cultures and epochs, calmness emerged as a quiet but radical form of resistance, a mental fortress built to withstand fear, propaganda, and manipulation. It was a way to reclaim agency in a world designed to provoke emotional chaos. From the battlefield generals who maintained unwavering focus under fire, to spiritual masters who taught detachment from worldly suffering, calmness was a tool for survival, influence, and ultimately, freedom. This historical legacy challenges the modern assumption that emotional control is unnatural or weak. Instead, it reveals calmness as a powerful skill deliberately honed by those who understood the deeper currents of human nature and power. In this light, calmness is not simply a virtue, it is a strategic choice, a quiet form of strength that has shaped the course of history and continues to hold profound relevance today. Throughout history, calmness has never been a mere accident or a passive state. It was a conscious, deliberate choice, a cultivated strength wielded by some of the most powerful minds and leaders to survive and shape their worlds. Consider Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled during one of the most turbulent eras in human history. Political intrigue, constant warfare, plague. His empire teetered on the edge of collapse. Yet Marcus, in the midst of this chaos, remained composed, steady, and unshaken. In his personal writings, later compiled as meditations, he reveals a mind disciplined to transcend turmoil, to find order within chaos, and to embrace adversity as the forge of character. For Marcus, calmness was not mere stoicism or repression. It was a weapon against fear and manipulation. His philosophy insisted that while external events lie beyond our control, our responses do not. This radical distinction between what is within and beyond our power became an emotional fortress, shielding him from the corrosive effects of chaos and human deceit. But this mastery of calm is not solely a Western ideal. Halfway across the world, ancient Eastern traditions developed their own profound teachings on stillness and detachment. Taoism, with its principle of Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, urges a yielding to life's natural rhythms rather than resistance. In this surrender lies strength, an effortless flow that disarms conflict and frees the mind from the entanglements of struggle. Zen Buddhism carries this insight further, advocating for radical presence and detachment. Zen masters teach that true calmness is a state of mind utterly clear and free from distractions, desires, and judgments, a mind that observes reality without distortion or reaction. This inner stillness is not passivity, but a sharp clarity, an active engagement with the world that refuses to be enslaved by fear or anger. Across cultures and eras, calmness emerges as a quietly subversive power. It is not just a virtue or personal peace. It is a strategic tool against tyranny, manipulation, and emotional control. From battlefield generals who maintained unshakable focus under fire, to spiritual leaders who taught liberation from suffering, calmness was a form of resistance, an invisible armor worn by those who understood that true power begins within. This legacy upends the modern assumption that emotional reactivity is natural or inevitable. Instead, history reveals calmness as a skill, a discipline honed through deliberate practice and profound understanding of human nature. It is a form of strength that allows individuals not only to survive, but to influence the world around them with clarity and resolve. In a society built to provoke outrage, division, and chaos, this ancient wisdom remains vital. Calmness is more than an internal state. It is a quiet revolution within, a refusal to be manipulated by fear, propaganda, or emotional turmoil. By studying the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, the Taoists, and the Zen masters, we reclaim a powerful inheritance. Calmness is a choice, a weapon that can dismantle manipulation, diffuse conflict, and reclaim agency in a world designed to unsettle our minds. The past teaches us that those who master calmness do not merely endure the storms of life. They become the eye of the storm itself. What does it mean truly to stay calm? Is it just about willpower? About gritting your teeth and holding it together? The answer lies deeper, inside the intricate machinery of your brain and nervous system. Calmness is not a simple choice. It is a complex dance of biology, psychology, and awareness. At the core of this process is the amygdala, the brain's ancient alarm system. It constantly scans for threats, ready to trigger the fight-or-flight response, flooding your body with adrenaline and preparing you to react instantly. This reaction served humanity well for millennia, saving us from predators and danger. But in modern life, the amygdala's hypervigilance often misfires. A heated argument, a confrontational glance, or even an unsettling text message can activate this primal alarm. Suddenly your heart races, your breath shortens, and your rational mind retreats. In that moment, staying calm seems impossible. Counterbalancing this is the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive center, responsible for reasoning, planning, and self-control. It acts like a skilled conductor, orchestrating responses, tempering the alarm system, and deciding whether a threat is real or imagined. When the prefrontal cortex is functioning well, it can dampen the amygdala's alarms, allowing calm and clear thinking to emerge. But under stress, the balance shifts. The amygdala hijacks the brain, and reason is overwhelmed by emotion. Understanding this neurological tug-of-war is the first step toward mastering calm. Beyond brain structures, the nervous system also plays a crucial role. The autonomic nervous system has two main branches: the sympathetic nervous system, which drives the fight-or-flight reaction, and the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest system, which calms the body and restores balance. Activating the parasympathetic system is the biological foundation of calmness, slowing the heart rate, deepening breath, relaxing muscles. But modern stress and constant stimulation often keep us stuck in sympathetic overdrive, leaving us vulnerable to emotional overwhelm. So how can we shift this balance? How do some people manage to stay calm, even in chaos? One powerful tool is mindfulness, the practice of observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Mindfulness trains the brain to recognize emotional reactions as they arise, creating space between stimulus and response. This gap is where calmness grows. Another crucial technique is cognitive reframing, changing how we interpret events. Instead of seeing a confrontation as a personal attack, we can view it as a challenge or an opportunity to learn. This shift weakens the amygdala's grip and empowers the prefrontal cortex. Emotional distancing is also essential. It doesn't mean becoming cold or detached, but recognizing that emotions are temporary waves on the surface of consciousness. By stepping back, we see that our feelings do not have to control us. Central to all these practices is self-awareness, knowing your triggers, understanding your patterns, and recognizing when you are being pulled into reactive states. This awareness dismantles the illusion that our emotional responses are inevitable or natural. Instead, it reveals that calmness is a skill, a mental muscle to be trained. The psychological research is clear. Emotional regulation can be learned, strengthened, refined. But this is no quick fix. It requires patience, commitment, and a willingness to explore uncomfortable truths about yourself. What if the chaos we experience is not just external but also an internal battlefield? What if every moment of emotional upheaval is a chance to practice calmness, to expand your mastery over your own mind? Reclaiming calm means rewiring your brain to respond differently, shifting from automatic reaction to conscious choice. It means transforming the fight-or-flight impulse into a moment of presence, clarity, and power. And this transformation is not only possible, it's essential if we want to navigate a world designed to exploit our fears and emotional weaknesses. Because in the end, calmness is not just an absence of noise or stress. It is a radical reconfiguration of the mind itself, a quiet revolution that starts within the labyrinth of your own brain. In today's world, calmness is not just a personal refuge, it has become a battleground. Because the forces that shape our societies, our media, and our relationships are engineered to disrupt your inner peace. They thrive on chaos, fear, and division. From political arenas to social media platforms, emotional hijacking is the weapon of choice. Outrage sells. Anger mobilizes, fear controls. But beneath the noise and fury lies a calculated strategy. A war on your calm. Consider the language of political rhetoric. It often stokes tribalism, framing opponents not as fellow humans, but as enemies to be feared or despised. This deliberate polarization fractures communities and blinds us to common truths. When emotions run high, reason is drowned out, and the crowd becomes easier to manipulate. Social media amplifies this dynamic exponentially. Algorithms feed us content designed to provoke strong emotional responses, scandal, outrage, fear. Because those reactions keep us hooked, clicking and sharing. The result is an endless cycle of conflict and division, a digital battlefield where calm voices are drowned beneath waves of anger. But this manipulation is not limited to politics or media. It infiltrates everyday relationships and social structures through psychological power plays, gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and emotional manipulation. These tactics are designed to destabilize your confidence, erode your boundaries, and hijack your emotional state. Why? Because a reactive, emotionally overwhelmed mind is far easier to influence and control. When calmness disappears, judgment, clouds, and vulnerability deepens. This is not accidental. It is a deliberate strategy. Societal powers profit from keeping populations fearful and divided, distracted from deeper truths and collective strength. Emotional chaos is a form of control. Recognizing this war on your calm is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Understanding these tactics shines a light on the invisible forces pulling your strings. It reveals the psychological traps set to bait your fears and insecurities. And with awareness comes choice. You can choose to resist the emotional hijacking. You can cultivate the calm that breaks the cycle of manipulation. Calmness becomes a form of rebellion, a refusal to be provoked, a shield against division, a quiet but profound act of resistance. But the stakes are high. In a world where emotional chaos fuels power, losing your calm means losing your agency. Conversely, maintaining calmness restores clarity, strengthens resilience, and opens the door to genuine connection and understanding. This is why calmness is more than a personal benefit. It is a crucial shield against manipulation and control in our increasingly fractured society. The question is no longer whether you can afford to stay calm, but whether you can afford not to. Calmness is not a gift reserved for a chosen few. It is a skill, a muscle that can be trained, strengthened, and refined through consistent practice. The path to mastering calmness is a journey that bridges ancient wisdom and modern psychology. Let's begin with the Stoics. These ancient philosophers understood that much of our suffering arises not from external events themselves, but from how we interpret and react to them. One powerful Stoic practice is negative visualization, imagining losing what you value, the job, relationships, even life itself. This exercise may sound grim, but it prepares the mind to accept loss and uncertainty, reducing fear and anxiety. When real challenges arise, it teaches us to focus on what is truly within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and to release attachment to outcomes beyond us. Next, mindfulness, the art of present moment awareness, offers a scientifically validated method to cultivate calm. Mindfulness invites us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, creating a space where emotions can pass like clouds across a clear sky. By practicing mindfulness regularly, we strengthen the brain's ability to regulate emotional responses, reducing reactivity and increasing resilience. Grounding techniques are another practical tool. Simple acts like focusing on your breath, feeling your feet against the floor, or engaging your senses to notice the environment around you can anchor you in the present moment. These techniques activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural calming response, helping to shift you out of fight or flight and back into balance. Cognitive behavioral strategies also play a crucial role. By learning to recognize and challenge distorted thoughts, such as catastrophizing or personalizing events, we weaken the emotional charge behind our reactions. Cognitive reframing allows us to reinterpret stressful situations in ways that reduce their power over us. Importantly, these techniques are not quick fixes or one-time solutions. They require dedication and ongoing self-awareness. The mind is like a garden. Calmness is the fruit that grows when you consistently nurture your mental soil with attention, reflection, and practice. Beware of oversimplified advice promising instant calm through a single trick or shortcut. True mastery is a deeper process of transformation. It demands honesty with yourself, patience with discomfort, and courage to face your inner turmoil. Yet the rewards are profound. As you develop these practices, you build an internal fortress, a resilience that withstands external chaos. You become less reactive, more present, and capable of navigating even the most challenging interactions with grace. This is the secret. Calmness is cultivated by those who commit to knowing themselves deeply, who train their minds to respond, rather than react, and who embrace the discomfort of growth. By blending the wisdom of the Stoics with modern psychological tools, you can begin your own journey toward emotional mastery. Calmness, then, becomes not just a state of mind but a way of being, a quiet strength that transforms how you engage with the world and with yourself. Calmness is not an abstract ideal reserved for philosophers or mystics. It is a living, breathing force that shapes real lives every day. Across the world, countless individuals embody what it means to be a modern-day calm warrior. Take the activist who, despite facing hostility, threats, and public backlash, remains composed and clear-headed. In moments where others might lash out or retreat in fear, they choose presence over panic, strategy over chaos. Their calm is a beacon, disarming opponents and inspiring allies, turning confrontation into dialogue and rage into resolve. Or consider a leader navigating a volatile situation, perhaps a community divided by conflict, or an organization on the brink of collapse. Instead of reacting impulsively, they listen deeply, grounding themselves in calmness that steadies others. Their presence creates space for understanding and collaboration, proving that strength often lies in stillness. Even in everyday life, calm warriors emerge, people confronting toxic family dynamics, workplace drama, or personal crises. They learn to hold their ground without aggression, to respond rather than react. Through steady patience and emotional resilience, they transform relationships and environments once dominated by tension and fear. These stories are not about perfection. They are about choice. Each calm warrior chooses to resist the emotional hijacking designed to provoke and divide. They reclaim agency over their minds and actions, refusing to be swept away by the currents of fear and anger. In doing so, they echo the ancient wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Zen masters, proving that calmness is a timeless, subversive power, a form of resistance that can change not just individual lives, but entire communities. If you recognize this strength within yourself, you are already on the path to becoming a calm warrior. Because the power to transform chaos into clarity lies not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself. Calmness is more than a feeling. It is a quiet revolution that begins within. A subtle defiance against a world engineered to provoke chaos, fear, and division. In a society that thrives on outrage and manipulation, choosing calmness is an act of courage. It is a refusal to be controlled by the emotional storms others unleash. It challenges the very mechanisms designed to fragment and weaken us. True strength, then, is not found in loud confrontation or reactive fury. It is found in stillness, in the ability to meet hostility without being consumed by it, in the power to see clearly when others are blinded by rage or fear. This strength is accessible to everyone. It does not require special talent or circumstances, only the willingness to begin the journey. The journey of mastering calmness is deeply personal, but also profoundly collective. When individuals reclaim their inner peace, they disrupt cycles of manipulation and division. Calmness becomes a seed for healing communities, transforming relationships, and building resilience against the chaos that surrounds us. This is the secret that has been passed down through history, from ancient philosophers to modern warriors of the mind. It is a legacy that invites you to take up the mantle. You have the power to choose calmness, to resist emotional control, to become the eye of the storm, steady and unwavering. So ask yourself, in a world designed to unsettle your mind, what will you choose? The answer could change everything. The revolution begins now, within you.